20 riders, the top of the sport.
Supermoto is 60 to 70% street, 30-40% dirt.
This year is very unique because it's an hour-long race.
Pit stop's going to play a big factor. You can have a 10-second lead and then lose 20 seconds in the pits.
It is the clash of the titans. It is the best of the best, and now it's also going to be the best teams.
We don't just enter the stadium. I mean, we drop into the stadium. It's spectacular to come in there and just hear the roar of the crowd. We're just going to push harder and harder.
There's very high speeds, jumping and sliding. There's guys knocking each other down. There's just a lot of carnage. I'm more pumped for Supermoto than anyone could imagine. Supermoto at X is the best of the best.
From all over the world.
Jeff Ward, Chad Reed,
Travis Pastrana, Jeremy McGrath.
To be on a line with all those great guys, that's half the fun.
Every former rider, every different discipline.
Road race, flat track, supercross, freestyle.
Going up to have an amazing race against the best guys in the entire sport.
Everybody ready? And as if 20 of the best in an amazing circuit isn't enough, this year they've doubled the distance and added a pit lane because they're going for pit stops the first time in Supermoto. Other major motorsport events haven't, so why not Supermoto? They have to come in, take some fuel, change a rear tire, and get back out with no problems. It's going to be one extra special edition, Jamie Little, who has called at Indianapolis pit stops. Now you're going to call him here.
Well, Paul, leave it to X Games to step it up a notch and add a pit stop. Now, this is what's going to happen. After lap 5, the pits will open and remain open for the remainder of the race. It's up to the team to decide when they want to come in. And most of the teams are telling us it's going to be between lap 20 and 30. Now, once they come in, the rider will dismount the bike. 3 crewmen only are allowed over the wall. They'll change the rear tire, refuel. The rider must stand here and touch nothing but his water bottle if he wishes. Then they'll haul down pit road and see where they end up, see if it mixes up the outcome of the race. Perhaps that's the whole point here, is to mix up the strategy. And Paul, you and I well know races can be won or lost right here on pit road.
And very likely will be today. No mechanical power tools, hand tools only. Riders on the line. The crowd is pumped up. Everybody is ready to go as they start their reconnaissance lap for Supermoto. Supermoto at the Home Depot Center, X Games 11. And let me tell you, this is the best. 20 of the finest riders in the world. A combination course of everything, including an 80-foot drop on that jump right there. Lots of different types of terrain. And Cameron Steele, an amazing course.
Definitely is, and let's take a look at it real quick. Starting gate dropping backwards at you, very unusual for most of the competitors here who are used to grid starts. 2 left turns, it's 1 big left, then you get into the rhythm section. You can triple on the outside, but you got to watch your setup. Leaving the stadium, this is where the fastest part of the track will happen. That is the most slippery spot. Also, when you come out of the stadium, there is your pit lane. The entrance will be just on the right as you leave the stadium. Another dirt section on the infield of this, what was just road racing last year. A very tricky chicane. A lot of riders are scared. There is a bump jump over some planters there, and then what was intended to be a double step over for some is one gigantic leap in, and then of course the glory of the finish line. If MC wins it, I'm looking for a knack. Everybody will be trying to show their stuff there.
It's truly a great challenge, and part of the biggest challenge you see just off to the left there. That giant jump. Jorgen Kunzel lost it, tried to get out of the way of the bike. He's okay. That was in practice. How about the Belgium, Eddie Seal, last year's silver medalist? He slid all the way down. He's okay. He'll be in. And Doug Henry, the top seed, just dropped the bike in practice this morning. So much can happen, and it happens so quick. Now this event, the Supermoto at X Games, is sanctioned by the American Motorcycle Association. They're riding their AMA plates, so you can tell if you're familiar with a sport that like 19 is definitely Doug Henry. And Doug Henry is the top seed and also one of the most popular riders here in the sport today. Alongside is Jeff Ward. Wardy is so much more than just an excellent motorcycle racer. He's won in the IRL IndyCar Series at Texas in one incredibly close finish. How about down to Eddie Seal? You saw him fall, but the Belgian is very, very quick here in seating and in practice. And then, of course, there's Jeremy McGrath. There are just so many superlatives here, it's hard to count them all. He's a man to watch. And as we look further down the starting grid, look there. Travis Pastrana. Last night, he picked up yet another gold medal to make it 9 in X Games, and he is back today looking for just one more. They are in the gate. We watch for the board. We watch the line. Everybody has started. Everybody's ready. 30-second board is up. Last second thoughts, Cam?
You can see the 30 board here when it goes sideways, less than 10 seconds to the gate drop. Doug Henry is on the very inside. All your fast qualifiers in this area looking for the inside on that first very flat, very slippery left-hand turn. Remember last year, MC with the hole shot. Doug Henry going down in an accident. Anytime now the gate can drop.
Yeah, can McGrath get that hole shot again this year? We're about to find out. The gate is down, and here we go. McGrath doesn't get that good a start.
It's going to be Chad Reed, the Supercross star, 2004 250 Supercross champion. And we have a pile-up in the first turn coming out of there. Bad news is Jeff Ward is in that pile-up.
Pile-up in the back. Ward is already up and underway. Chad Reed led them out, followed by Doug Henry, and there they are, already onto the road course portion.
And this is a massive problem for Chad Reed. Yes, he's got the hole shot, but the fastest rider in qualifying, the winner of the 2 Supermoto events we've had so far this year, and he really has been on the gas. He's actually 3 of 4 wins, sorry about that. And Doug Henry will look to set up a pass on his factory Yamaha teammate.
So at the front is Reed. Number 8, that's Kurt Nicole on KTM. He's really involved in a fight here for 3rd. Right behind him, that's Steve Drew on 73.
And Steve Drew came with the 4th place finish last year, just missing the medal podium. And you saw that little jump over the bush area. That is sketchy. Talk about sketchy. Check out this airtime.
Oh, watch this.
Playing it safe. They're playing it safe the first time through. Look at MC making the move. That's Jeremy McGrath on the number 2 machine you saw moving into your picture.
So they come now to the conclusion of the first lap. All the field is running. Take a look at McGrath.
And Jeremy McGrath needs to make quick work of these 2 riders if he is to move forward to the front of this pack early. Look how slippery it is right there. You see them all getting the rear wheel, checking out from underneath them. McGrath diving to the inside of Steve Drew. Can he make it work? It looks like he's built it.
No, he can't. McGrath gets pushed back and actually drops to 4th. Now he tries to come back up again.
And the rider you saw diving in there, last year's winner's brother, that is Eric Bostrom on the number 32 machine.
Well, Bostrom's very definitely a guy to watch. He was very quick this morning.
He was the fastest rider in final practice this morning. He's adapting to the dirt. He's got great playtime skills at motocross, but he hasn't been a motocross racer. And you can see McGrath still working on Drew back there.
Beginning to spread out just a bit at the front. There it tightens up around McGrath. Grant on number 2, 73. That's Steve Drew. And here comes the leaders up again, up top the hill again.
And McGrath with his problems on the big step over jump. We haven't seen him able to clear it as he was in practice. He was the first rider. Oh, that is McGrath going down.
You know, this turn has been difficult for a lot of guys. They've dropped it there for seemingly no reason.
And let's not forget, with the pit stops involved, anything can happen. 40 laps of racing. Physical conditioning will come into this. Most of the European riders have not raced in this kind of heat. They have not raced at this time, that amount of racing. Same with the Supermoto specialists. The motocross guys will probably have the best advantage when it comes to endurance and training. And see, McGrath looks like he just started to lose that front wheel. Gets a little check up there from Benny Carlson on the 45 machine. He remounts. The bike doesn't die. They can be difficult to restart the 4 strokes.
Take a look at the start once again. McGrath just gets cut off back in the field.
And it looked like Henry was going to be the first one to the first corner, but I do believe that Chad Reed outbraked him there.
And then, of course, this problem at the back that involved Jeff Ward as well.
And the pits do not open. There we go. There's some airtime up and over.
Pits won't open for stops until after the 5th lap.
Correct. And I talked to some of the riders. There is some strategy playing out. No one would tell us about their tire compounds, but you can use a very soft tire compound in the rear to get traction, but the tire will break down quickly. That would have you coming into the pits around lap 18. Then you'd come back out with a medium compound tire to make it all the way through to the finish.
Reed, then Henry, then Nicole, then Bosterman Drew. That's the top of the field. There goes Pastrana on number 199.
And with a 40-lap main event or race here, they are going to be working for a long time, so it's not a big deal if they settle in just a little bit. It's not like a sprint race where they just have to get right on it to the front and may be able to take a little bit of time. Chad Reed doing a phenomenal job holding off his Yamaha teammate.
So it's Yamaha running 1-2. Chad Reed, Doug Henry at the front. Will they stay there? X Games 11 will return after this message and a word from our ABC station. We had a lead change. Henry came in and just shoved his teammate out of the way and took over the lead of the race. It's still Yamaha 1-2, and they have a substantial advantage.
They definitely do, and their pit stops have been very quick in practice. So take a look. Henry going up and over, and clipping just a little bit. Chad Reed also clipping on the way in.
Here was the pass for the lead. Just a few seconds before we came back. Now watch, 19 of Doug Henry just right down in there, muscles his way in. Chad tries to come back at him, but nothing doing.
His exit speed on the corner before, he had the drive, dove inside of Chad, took the line away, filled the space Chad wanted to go to. He had to check up a little bit. Look at the gap back. Better than 2 seconds, but guess what here?
Yeah, Bostrom back there in 3rd place, but he has got speed through all over him. And for that matter, just back a little further is Lafferini. Number 6, the Italian entrant. And he's closing in a little bit as well.
And the thing about the Henry on McGrath, he just filled that spot. It's kind of classic MX style. Get in there, a little block maybe. Not too big a check. They're teammates.
Look at them when they come off of the dirt. They set the bike as they leave the dirt and landed already canted over for the turn on the pavement, the flat track section.
And when I say check, I mean just where they fill that spot and they make a little connection. You can see totally different styles there. Yeah, they're going a little bit safe there. The 2 leaders are jumping quite a bit more. They're clipping the edge, but the other riders playing it safe.
2 more over. We're keeping track of Pastrana, who's currently 7th. He rides 199, and there he is.
He is the leader in X Games medal count for motocross, and he came with a gold medal just last night in the freestyle Moto X competition. Taking a look back through the field, the 11 is Chris Fillmore, our youngest rider in the competition, and Travis Pastrana, one of the riders, wearing a camelback or a water system on his back so he can take a drink. He was suffering from dehydration with all the work he's done. Oh, and a big inside pass. We talked about Wardy going down in the first corner. He just came in and just took that spot from Travis.
So Jeff Ward now begins to work his way up through the field. Up at the top of the screen, of course, we have the all of the data for you. Position, the interval, number of stops, win. All of that is going to become available to you. And speaking of pit stops, with 7 laps now complete, we are in where they can legally make their mandatory pit stop.
And Jeff Ward is the current Supermoto champion in the United States. Ooh, Travis clipping there, but trying to gain some momentum. Ward not doing that big jump. You also need to know about Ward. He has won every available title in motocross from the AMA. Look at the outside move. Jeremy McGrath going triple-double, and he's doubling into the face of that to use it as a bit of a break. If he jumped all the way over the top, possibly could slide out because he's carrying too much momentum to go to that inside.
Look at Mark Burkett as he continues in his pursuit of Kurt Nicole. We go on board Burkhardt right now, currently 7th.
And Burkhardt normally rides the 250F, which is the smaller 4-stroke machine. They call it the lights class in the United States, and he has won 2 races on the year. And he says he really likes riding the big 450 and mixing it up with the guys that he doesn't get so much a chance to race. So look, he's trying to dive to the inside, possibly make some lines work on the basically the race team director for KTM, Kurt Nicole. And Kurt's one of his proudest moments was dethroning the U.S. team. He was part of the Great Britain team for the Motocross of the Nations, and they stopped a 13-year run on the Americans at that event.
Burkhardt, the number 61, drops the bike. He's been the absolute class of the field in the 250s. What a surprise. And now he's really got to wait. There's the view from the bike on the ground. He's got to wait till everybody gets past before he can go back out there.
And not far behind him, we have a bit of a yard sale on the big jump, and that looks like trying to get a number there. It looks like the Baja 500 champion from this year, and the man that rode the Baja 1000 solo on a dirt bike, Mouse McCoy.
Now Mouse is going to walk that over to the edge of the course, see if he can get it restarted, but he took a major tumble coming down the hill. Might have seen the that film you're in it, Cam, that Dust to Glory, which documented his attempt to ride the Baja 1000, the Run to La Paz solo.
Let's see if we can see what happens. And there's just a slide out, just attacking that corner a little hard. He's very wary of competitors coming up behind him. Mouse going over the bars. Doesn't look like he gets tackled by his machine. Oh yeah, definitely gives him a little run over job, and always seems like you're a magnet. And here it is from the onboard from Burkhardt. Watch him attack this corner.
Just out it goes. And he's got to wait now for every other rider to get past. He didn't have time nor opportunity to go pick the bike up again. Our leader, Doug Henry, the favorite coming in, the top seed coming into this run.
Really, everybody has been picking Doug Henry to win this event, and he's won so many different things. He was the first winner of a Supercross on a 4-stroke motorcycle. He also the first person to win a championship, 1998 250cc championship on the 400 4-stroke. You may ask why he can do that, but part of the production rules of the AMA allow up to 450cc with a 250 class as long as it's a 4-stroke.
And while we're on lap number 11, now we can stop anytime someone wants to make a stop. And Jamie Little, the question is, what are they thinking? Especially, do you have any idea what Yamaha is thinking? They're leading.
Heading Yamaha's planning on still coming in around lap 25 to 30. They're not sure. Everybody's playing it by ear at this point. There's 2 spotters, one inside the Home Depot Center, one outside here. I asked Travis Pastrana's crew. They said, hey, it's Travis. We're ready for him anytime he decides to pull the bike in. But right now, they're sticking to their plan between lap 20 and 30.
There's the pit road. That's where they'll head when they finally make that decision. A lot of the course is up in the parking lot. And the rest of it then down into the stadium, the drop of 80 feet and a 165-foot ramp that brings them back down onto the dirt.
And you're looking at Eric Bostrom on the number 32 Red Bull KTM machine, and he is kind of quietly closing in. I don't think that endurance will be a huge factor for him. These 3 riders in front, great shape, and have been riding, forever. This could be a battle going all the way through, and they're getting quite a gap back. I'm wondering when pit stops can come into play.
Another form of motorsport. Points leader and Indy 500 champion Dan Weldon. He's been dominating the IndyCar Series this season. Next Sunday, Weldon and rookie sensation Danica Patrick will head the field at the Amber Alert Indy 300 presented by GPS. Next Sunday, 3:30 in the East, 12:30 Pacific, right here on ABC Sports. Henry, the class of the field with 2.3, and for the first time we've seen a rider into the pits. That's Jürgen Kunzel. Remember, he had a big spill in practice.
And I'm not sure what they're doing. Remember with the pit stop, mandatory tire change, fueling. Right now, it looks like there's a problem for Jürgen Kunzel, so he is chilling out in the pits. Remember, last year he was 7th.
You see on the crawl the top across the screen, it'll go blue, indicating he's been there.
And right now, pressure for the former Supercross champion from Eric Bostrom. And the street is where Bostrom should have an advantage. Watch the styles. Chad with his leg forward. Eric with his leg out a bit more.
So that fight for second place continues. Jamie Little, what's going on with Jürgen Kunzel?
Well, Paul, he was officially our first pit stop. It was rather slow. Actually, his bike is okay. As you mentioned earlier, he went down in the first turn. The bike is okay. He's a little beat up, but as you can see, there's fuel spilled everywhere. So that first refueling did not go so well. And guys, we're hearing right now, Jeremy McGrath is planning on pitting on lap 15.
And of course, Cameron Steele, that's been a little bit of the worry. You're fueling on the top. You got a dry brake system, but still, the fuel tank sits above a fairly hot engine.
Definitely. And McGrath coming in on lap 15. This might tell me that they're thinking about a tire compound change, or maybe that they went with a very soft compound to start with. And interesting to see how the pit stops will play into this.
Well, they're guessing that the fastest pit stops will come at 25 seconds, 30 about the norm, and the top guys are only split by about 5 seconds here. There is Jeremy McGrath due in on the next lap if the intelligence that Jamie Little has gathered up is accurate. Then again, not always do they tell reporters exactly when they will do what. It's not particularly helpful to their tactics.
Yeah, definitely. And Jeremy McGrath with 72 Supercross wins. This, I believe, would be his first ever pit stop on a motorcycle.
I tell you what, I watched his team work on stops for maybe an hour last night as we come back to the leader, Doug Henry. And Jeremy, he's riding the bike in for much of that. And he finally says to him, guys, make it smooth, not fast. Concentrate on smooth. And it's a tough stop because once you pull the rear wheel out of the swing, then you've got to speed the axle in there, and it's actually got to pass through a couple different ports, including the way it has to sit into the brake calipers.
And we'll talk about a couple unique situations. There is a production rule that involves how the wheel goes back in or how it was built. It has to be similar to that. Everybody says KTM has a bit of an advantage because the way the axle goes through, it goes into a threaded piece. It doesn't have a separate nut on the end. That's a bit of an advantage. Yamaha has flipped their brake caliper to the bottom onto a solid mount. The rules didn't specifically say anything about the brakes. Some of the teams were saying, well, that's not production. Yamaha saying the rules were about how the wheel bolts on.
And the fact that they don't have to remount the caliper, that should give them a bit of an advantage, and maybe has, as we've seen thus far. That's the look down into the stadium, the big drop in, the motocross section of the course, and then after they climb this hill, immediately off to their right, when they come out of the stadium, is the entrance into the pit road. Right there is where they bear right.
Right here is where they have to jump in. Right there on that left, on that right side, you can see they got to come through a bit of a chicane as well. Their battle shaping up here.
Well, and if he was going to stop on 15, we have yet to see an appearance by number 2. It's a nice little fight, isn't it?
It is, and here's McGrath coming up and putting some pressure on Kurt Nicole. Wow, getting the bike so low.
And now they're getting an update in the pits. They're saying that both McGrath on the Honda and the Yamaha gang, look at McGrath here as he's going to try and get him.
Going for the inside line.
It seems like that everybody's now moved their possibility of a pit stop back to the 26th lap. Back at the Home Depot Center, X Games 11 Supermoto, 17 laps are complete. Doug Henry, who already has 6 Supermoto wins to his credit, is leading this field, and by a fairly good margin. His last win, by the way, came in race 2 at Road America this year. And while we were away, Lazzarini got past Drew for 4th. But you're watching the leader of the race, Doug Henry. And look at that lead. That's a full 7.5 seconds over second place Bostrom.
And this is the corner where he crashed in practice. He's been hanging it out pretty far. Last time around, he really backed that back tire around. So tire wear going to become an issue at some point here as we near the halfway point in this race.
Take a look back now as they come off and onto the dirt section. There's Bostrom trying to keep the family honor going there, isn't he?
Right now sitting in a silver medal position. I'm sure he'd be quite happy with that, but you know, gold around the neck is always a little better.
Well, his brother was able to pull that baby off, becoming the first gold medalist in X Games Supermoto.
And the Australian Chad Reed holding down the 3rd place position. So trying to work and find a way for Chad to catch up, and it would have to be on the dirt. And at the same token, I'm not seeing a ton of aggression from Chad. You do see the tire sliding a bit there. Over jumping that jump a little bit. You want to get down to the ground as fast as possible to build your speed quicker. Now that we're halfway into the race, and look at this, Chad Reed has dove into the pit lane.
All right, now we're going to get an idea of how this works.
Motor has to be shut off.
Jamie Little.
Well, guys, I was just talking to Keith McCarty, team manager. He said Reed was planning on coming in on lap 22. He came in unexpectedly. The whole team was not ready. They immediately jumped over the fence. Chad is quickly getting a drink of water, just shaking. You can imagine this race to the finish, you guys. It's heating up, and his teammate, Doug Henry, is planning on coming in lap 25, and Burkhart lap 27. Chad cannot touch the bike. He stays behind. Put his leg on, and they're finished, and they push him down pit road. 32.2 as Jason Fillmore comes in right behind him.
So it's now going to start to get crowded. That's not quite as fast as they would have liked to. They were kind of aiming at a 24.
And his crew, you could see, wasn't ready. The gas man was late, and that's the number 11 of Chris Fillmore, again, our youngest competitor in the group. We're stopping the time when the tire changers start pushing the bike, only the 2 tire change guys can start pushing. Something really to note, you saw it there. When they start pushing down pit road, someone could be coming from behind and dive into their pit, and there is no pit lane speed limit, so it could be chaos.
Chris Fillmore doing what he is allowed to do. He can stand there at the left side of the bike. Now he starts it. They give him a push, and he's away. These stops, Cam, they look like they're coming just a bit earlier than they originally thought.
Well, the nerves are playing into it, too, so it's something you really have to think about. So as you pointed out earlier, Paul, when they're blue on top of the screen on the running order, that means they've been in the pits. And you're looking at Eric Bostrom, who has not been into the pits as of yet.
Eric's brother, who won gold here last year, had another commitment at Brands Hatch in England this weekend. Disappointed that he couldn't be back to try to match up another gold, but his brother's doing a fine job. So now on pit road, there is Steve Drew.
And you can see the crew working there. Looks like they've already got the fuel in. The ruling is 2 people working on the back of the motorcycle. It looks like a 3rd man maybe just getting the gear shifter into place.
Now this just doesn't look routine, though. I mean, that's taking a lot of time, and they're playing around with the bike a lot.
Yeah, they're having some troubles here for sure. There we go, we're getting it back on.
Jürgen Kunzel, by the way, also came into the pits for a 2nd time now. Oh, this is turning into a disaster, isn't it?
Yeah, Steve's got to be really frustrated. Coming from a motocross background, he's big into Supermoto. He's been a big part of the movement here in the United States, and that's a tough break for him. But, you know, it can happen to anybody else as well.
Well, Jamie said it at the start, and it's been said so many, many times before. You can win it or lose it in the pits. The real advantage is if the crew is on top of it, they can actually gain position for you. For Steve Drew, no doubt it was very costly. Henry, Bostrom, Lazzarini, those are the top 3. Last year this time, the race would be coming to conclusion. They're a little over halfway now.
And Doug Henry, who is definitely into fitness. He ran 5th at Southwick this year in the AMA Motocross Series, which is definitely a beating of a course, very sandy and whooped out. He also won a GNCC race this year, and that's a cross-country event. So we know fitness is not a problem for Doug.
Yeah, but this very much is a fitness event. In fact, everybody was concerned about what the temperatures would be. Fortunately, in Southern California right now, it's about 77 degrees, which is good. They were afraid that it might get into the 90s during the afternoon. And a number of the guys are all set up with extra water systems. I watched McGrath in a great one into his racing suit last night. Everybody's set to go, trying to be as good as they can in terms of being able to keep it going. Now this is Kurt Nicole into the pits.
One thing I want to point out, Paul, we saw the landing of Doug Henry on that white line coming out of that dirt section. The lines are very slippery. He's trying to get to the inside of that corner. That's something dangerous to watch out for. And Nicole going for a kick and then getting the crew to push.
And so Nicole, who comes in off of what early on would have been a podium finish, drops well through the field, but then again, that will have to cycle through for everybody. You won't get a real idea of the overall effect of the pit stop until everybody's done, we're guessing, lap 31, 32.
I was talking to some of the team managers, and they say the bikes with the gas tank, they all vary in how many laps they could possibly do. And I'm hearing the most possible laps. Wow, really bringing it around there. You can see the bike getting loose. 35 laps would be the utter maximum that someone could go, is what they were saying on pit road.
But you know what? What I don't understand is if I've got to stop, and I can stop after the 5th lap, and I've got a really great rider, wouldn't I want to stop as early as possible to give a lot of room for my guy to make up any distance that we may have lost him?
Well, it just depends on your tire compound choices as well. So there's a lot of different things that come into play, a lot of strategy, and Jeremy McGrath has been a man on a mission trying to get back up after that crash.
Fastest guy last time around, currently in 4th place, McGrath. But he's definitely flying right now. And Jeff Ward is down again. He was up to 5th. Boy, this place is not lucky for him. He fell last year, big off, ruined his chances of a win. This year he falls right at the start.
The leader is in the pits.
Jamie Little.
Doug Henry getting a drink of water as they fuel. You guys, they've been practicing these pit stops for the last 2 days. As you mentioned, this has never been done. Doug Henry has never been through a pit stop on his motorcycle before. The team gets it on there. He's getting a drink of water anxiously as they work away. Now Yamaha's an interesting, Cameron Steele, I think you mentioned it earlier, the caliper is underneath the rotor, unlike all the other teams, and he's off 27.4 for your leader, Doug Henry.
That was a great stop. That was awesome. Now, what about the rest of the guys in behind, especially guys like McGrath? Can they match that? Bostrom makes his stop. He's underway. In and out of 2nd place.
So they were the top 2. We'll have to wait and see how the scoring comes around after those pit stops. You can see them getting out on those lines, very slippery. Here is Jeremy McGrath. He's in his window of pit area. When he wanted to come, you can see him airing it out and clipping there a bit.
It's interesting to see the different tools that they've devised. They can't use power tools, but the teams have devised different tools. You saw that kind of lever wrench that Yamaha had. In the case of McGrath, his team has a standard ratcheting socket, but it's wrapped with string, so as soon as it breaks tension on the nut, they can yank the string and spin it right off. It's not power, but it's close. Jamie Little, here comes Jeremy McGrath.
Well, Paige, Jeremy has been on a tirade out there. He's worked his way all the way up to 4th. He gets a drink of water. Everybody's kind of shaking out their hands. He's all good. Team is doing their work and their fuel, no problem. Getting that rear wheel on. Oh, you can see right there he has a broken handguard. He's telling them to fix it. They don't have any tools to be able to fix it right now. They get the bike in gear. They get the rear wheel on. They get McGrath on the bike. 29.4 for Jeremy McGrath, and they high five.
And that's a stop to be proud of. They really were working hard at that yesterday. McGrath back into the fight. A little bit slower than Henry, though. Lazzarini picks up the lead.
Still under 30 seconds. Looks like it's going to be a good time. If someone can drop below 25, that would be pretty amazing.
And a lot of pressure on the Honda bikes. Their headquarters is in Torrance, California, not far from here. They've got a lot of support here today. And back with Supermoto, I'm Paul Page with Cameron Steele. Jamie Little is in the pits for us. And Doug Henry on the 27th lap has resumed the lead. 3 riders have not yet made their stops. Travis Pastrana among them. Pastrana, Carlson, and the Kiwi, Atkins, the man from New Zealand, a 7-time New Zealand champion. And Jeff Ward, of course, he put the bike down. It's going to be a long time before he can get his act totally back together.
And it looked like there might have been Travis Pastrana diving into pit row, and it is the 199.
You can see that by the pump on his back. He dehydrated himself yesterday. I imagine he's carrying plenty of water there. Jamie?
That's right. You know, yesterday he was severely dehydrated, getting sick before his freestyle motocross event. He has been running ragged here at X Games, competing in 3 different events. But Travis Pastrana working his way up to 2nd before coming in for his pit stop. The crew working anxiously here. Travis getting a breather. Look at him, rooting the team on. Come on, guys, get it together. Let's get it on there. Having a little bit of a problem. As you can see, working there, trying to get it on there. You guys mentioned, no electric tools here. It's all manual. Travis giving the thumbs up. Trav's all good. You good, Trav? Trav's good. He's having a good time, and he's ready to roll.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
Let's go. Only Travis Pastrana. And you know, Travis is no stranger to pit stops, guys. He's been racing in the Rally Car Series. He's raced multiple different cars, including an Indy car before. Team's still struggling, and they get it done. Pull it off. Travis gets on. Definitely wasn't the pit stop they wanted, guys. Travis is off and running.
So there goes Travis Pastrana. Now take a look on the crawl at the top of the screen. That is the lap that they have pitted on. If there is no number there, then of course they have not yet pitted. But for the most part, everybody at the front, except for Atkins, who now runs in 5th place, has made their stop.
And definitely something to point out. You see Travis coming out and attacking. Remember, the new rubber will be a little bit different, but they do use tire warmers. I was talking to Brock Glover, former national champion motocross rider. He says they try to warm them to about 160 degrees.
Boy, man on a mission. Pastrana goes past Ward.
When isn't he on a mission?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why we said that.
And he clears the jump in, and that was Jeff Ward, unfortunately, that he was going by, flying by there.
Take a look down from the Taco Bell fly cam now as you watch Pastrana. He has the makings, the constitution of a true champion. He connects so well with the crowd and understands. I mean, he goes over to them. He talks with them. He just is an absolute champion.
And that is a battle for position. Johnny Murphy, the number 20 bike. He's a flat track racer, which flat tracking is the oldest form of motorcycle racing in the United States, and he's been runner-up to the championship a couple times.
But here's the man of the hour, Doug Henry, with nearly 25, almost 26 seconds ahead of 2nd place Bostrom. Reed is 3rd. McGrath is now 4th.
Well, Jeremy McGrath said that this track really doesn't lend any favorites, you know, any advantage to anybody. He says it's really even, you know, the motocross or street bike guys, it's all going to be kind of even. So that could be a problem for Eric Bostrom, who's running in 2nd in our silver medal position. He needs to make up time, and I think he's probably wishing there was just a little bit more asphalt or concrete around here.
Well, of course, part of that is just the intention of Supermoto. Let's give you a bunch of different disciplines and see who comes out the best in the end.
And let's not forget, although Doug Henry, a hero, a legend, a multiple-time champion, with 32 laps in the books, anything can happen. You can get tired, and they can fall down. Mechanical problems. This race is not over until that checker flag comes out.
That's a good race, and get ready now. A brand new series could be taking over your town. The premiere of My Kind of Town, Sunday, August 14th at 9, 8 Central, and only on ABC. They're beginning to bunch up a bit now, as we sense 8 laps away, the end of this race. Ward there on 3. He's
looking
trying
around.
to stay out of the way is what he's trying to do.
And there's a race going on, but he's not in it.
Real fight here right now. Sits back 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Bostrom, Reed, McGrath. McGrath again was quickest last time around. There he goes on number 2.
Well, what's interesting here is McGrath sitting 4th, Reed sitting 3rd. Reed idolizing McGrath as McGrath was dominating Supercross, and then Chad Reed comes in and similar riding style. Look at that. Chad risking getting by there.
Lap machine, there he goes.
McGrath working the different line to the inside. You see how he's got to slow down in that corner.
The McGrath, now he gets alongside Burkhardt, as he's got to work his way through some of the back of the field here, because the front is overlapping the back. X Games 11 will return after this message. and a word from our ABC stations. And take a look at this. Number 2, Jeremy McGrath. He's been on a charge. Just before we went away, you saw him as he made his big move on Bostrom. And just seconds ago, he made the move that put him into second place, getting around Chad Reed. Chad's hanging there with him. The one place that McGrath is just unbeatable is on that big jump.
He just gassed it down that downhill and just got the line and outbraked Chad Reed, and a mutual admiration for each other here. Both stars of Supercross. Interesting to see them in such a tight battle. The now semi-retired McGrath from Supercross, but he will be back part-time in Supercross in 06.
You're seeing some of the best racing ever. And we want to take you back to the first pass. This is McGrath moving on Bostrom. Big outside move, big launch, takes the triple, and is around Bostrom. And then coming up into the stadium, look at this, that Chad Reed on the blue bike. He makes a mistake of looking back.
Look at, he just fills the spot. Chad has nowhere to go. Remember, when you get out in the marbles, it's very slippery. Chad has to be careful using the brakes there, and MC one spot higher than he was last year. I'm not sure what's up with Bostrom. Maybe he just got tired. It almost looked like he was giving space for McGrath and Chad Reed to come by.
Well, everybody thought that fatigue would be a big part of this, so who knows? Doug Henry currently the leader, and the scenario now is that he is 22 seconds ahead of second place Jeremy McGrath. Look at the pits, though. Look at this. Henry, 39 seconds on his pit. That's line to line in the pits compared to the 41.9 for McGrath. But still, everything's really been done in racing because the current interval is 22.5 seconds.
Well, that's going to tighten it up right there. Henry getting the yellow flag on the big jump, being very cautious. Eddie Seal was down there, so that's giving McGrath, who doesn't get the yellow flag on that section, a little bit more room to try and catch up.
The Belgian Eddie Seal, the silver medalist last year, that's the second time that he's dropped the bike on that enormous jump.
Clipping again.
Same sort of thing.
Almost over the bars again. The first time was one of the best flying W's, what we call it when you handstand on top of the bars I've ever seen, and then he crashes again. Tough luck for last year's silver medalist.
By the way, we had mentioned Mount McCoy earlier. He blew an engine, so he was the first and the only actual retirement right now. Well, you do a lot of desert racing with that guy too, though. How's your super truck running?
Everything's sweet. We're looking good, and look at this. Look at the gap back from Henry to McGrath. These are lappers in the mix here. We're looking for the number 2 of Jeremy McGrath, the one and sole factory Honda entrant.
Distance. 4 to go, and he's whittling away. He's gotten it down to 19 seconds now.
And that could be a factor with that yellow flag Henry got. We'll see how it shakes out here on this lap. But one thing for sure, McGrath has a little bit of a cushion on Chad Reed, and I'm sure Chad's pretty excited. Oh, McGrath, and he clips.
Look at that.
MC's not scared. Now lap traffic could come into play here. Jeremy has some lappers to deal with. Chad could close in with that. And the stars of motocross and supercross right now, Paul, sitting 1, 2, and 3.
The else over there heading for the pits. This is late in the day. Three laps to go now. He's going to have to make up over 5 seconds a lap, so that not being in the realm of possibility, something would have to go wrong for Doug Henry, and it doesn't appear like that's going to happen.
And on that last lap, McGrath putting another 2 seconds on Henry as he clips going in. Henry, that is, on the number 19. But what I think is happening here This will leave 2 laps to go as he crosses the finish line. Doug has pulled back. He has multiple pit boards around the track. They're telling him that he has a 20-second lead. Next time around, we'll be looking for the white flag.
And the real question to be resolved is more that of McGrath and Reed, because that's only about a 2-second interval, second to third. It's 15 seconds from when you saw Doug Henry go by to the number 2 bike of McGrath, and then you should see Reed right on top of him.
And right now, that is a lapper in front of Jeremy McGrath. We saw him go down. That is Eddie Seal.
Well, that interval extended. It extended to 5 seconds. There's bronze medal at the moment. And he dropped back on that last lap another 2 seconds from McGrath. Doug Henry, early leader in this race. Took it away from his teammate who led the first couple laps. We've had 3 lead changes throughout the day.
And Henry still airing it out into the stadium. He's got to be excited right now. I mean, anything again can happen, but look at him playing it safe on that flat track style corner.
And like I say, a man who is incredibly fit now sees the indication by flag of 1 more lap to go. Doug Henry, who last year everybody thought would do so well. And then he had problems right at the start. Crashed with Vanderbosch. And now he's making up for it, taking a hard look at the gold medal. He also is a guy that has been, like McGrath, in multiple X Games events. McGrath in Step Up. Henry has twice raced in snowcross. Didn't do particularly well, but he was there and trying.
Well, always the racing athlete. Loves to go out and race, just doesn't want the full-time competition of dirt bike racing, the Supermoto series. He looks to be dominating right now. He is dominating right now, and he's on quest for a championship. And here McGrath in some lap traffic. That's Steve Drew just in front of him. And he is running out of time. In fact, I would say the fat lady is singing.
Yeah, she's already started into the chorus.
The no-legger
Listen to the crowd. Doug Henry makes a left-hand turn. One of the few right-hand turns is just ahead of him. And so is the finish line. Time to stop, savor, and win for Henry.
And McGrath will come across with the silver medal, and now Chad Reed just making it to the finish line. Those are your top 3.
With that slowdown by Doug Henry on the last lap, McGrath closed in a little bit more, but was still well over 10 seconds behind Henry when they finally hit the flag. Yamaha and Doug Henry, what a nice job, and they really worked hard for this. They studied that pit stop, they practiced it. Doug Henry has taken the win.
And the bad news, the Bostrom family will not leave with the medal last year. Ben Bostrom winning. He is overseas racing in his current series. His brother will come across in 4th place.
Last lap around, McGrath did everything he could. He was the fastest on the last lap. Reed was second quick. But it doesn't matter now because the gold belongs to that man.
And he's got one of his crew members on the back. I'm assuming his crew chief or his full-time mechanic. And interesting of note, Doug Henry was here at 7:30 this morning walking the track all by himself, visualizing this gold medal.
Here it was. He had it. He knew it. He had it all the way. Doug Henry has taken the 2nd gold medal in Supermoto at X Games. This time, X Games 11. We'll be back.
Supercross, the movie, presents Slam
back at the Home Depot Center, Supermoto, and there is the medals. Doug Henry with the gold. Jeremy McGrath ups at 1, bronze last year, silver this year, and the bronze goes to Chad Reed. Let's go to Jamie Little.
Hey, Paul, can I mention it's an all motocross / supercross sweep? Last year it was the road racers, of course. Jeremy McGrath in here. Let's talk to the champ. First of all, though, Doug Henry, he was your #1 seed. He was the fastest all day, motocross, supercross champion. Doug, tell us about today. How did this race compare to all your other victories?
Well, you know, this is quite an event. You know, hour-long race, and a live television in front of all these people here, and then everybody at home. It's just last year I had like a little mishap, but this year, you know, my Yamaha worked so good. You know, my pit crew was awesome. You know, my Dunlop tires work awesome. You know, Thor apparel. You know, it's just been really, really good. Scott goggles. I'm sorry, Bevo, I don't have them around my neck, but I threw them out to the crowd a little early.
This guy's a true champion. I know Jeremy was in here. He's talking to Chad Reed. Why are you so dominant? I know you retired from Supercross and motocross a few years ago. Why are you so fast here?
I don't know. I really love it. You know, Supermoto is just it's a fun sport for me. So it's a challenge for me. You know, it's great to be back on Yamaha working with a familiar crew I've been working with for a lot of years, and they really put a great program together, the whole Graves team. I mean, everybody from Yamaha came out for this event, and we needed each and every one of them to you know, to get on the podium today, and I want to thank them most of all.
Great job on the pit stop, by the way. Team Yamaha had been practicing, and they prevailed. Congratulations. Doug Henry is your Supermoto champion.
What a day it was. What an X Games. X Games 11 finishes with Supermoto. This was the start. Chad Reed moved to the front very early on, and then Jeremy McGrath, very unlike himself, drops it. Finally, Doug Henry to the front, and after that, unassailed. He is the man, but there's still more to come.
X Games 11 on ABC Sports. Brought to you by Right Guard Extreme. Now supercharged with 25% more odor and wetness protection. Kumo Tires. Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And Supercross, the movie, in theaters August 10th.
ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Search ABC Sports. Coming up next except on the West Coast, World News Tonight Sunday or your local news. Well, now for my least favorite part of the X Games, the end. Undoubtedly, we've entered into the second decade of X in grand fashion. The fans got their money worth, and the athletes got what they came for. Not the medals, but the satisfaction that comes from pushing the limits of both body and mind in the name of progression. Outsiders look at X and they ask, why? Look at those in the core and they'll say, why not? The answer is inside. It's all heart, self-fulfillment, personal validation. That's the soul of X. I'm Sal Masekela, and I'll see you at Winter X next year.
I think it's going to take a combination of skill and guts.
This is the pressure moment. Oh, Travis, bar spin backflip.
The risk is incredible.
While pumped, I got one where it counts at X Games.
That's what I'm talking about!
A three-peat from the East Coast champions.
Travis Pastrana has just claimed his 5th X Games freestyle gold.
Mira's new bike is 24 karat gold plated.
Oh, man, that was a weird crash for Dave. Jamie Bestwick adding another gold medal to his trophy case.
4-foot backflip, Guinness World Record, X Games record.
It's a flipping, spinning festival.
The switch heel flip reverse.
Way!
And he throws it down.
Tommy wants to reclaim.
Oh yeah! His fourth X Games gold medal.
The Golden Boy is on. Adding another medal to the collection.
You know, this is the best feeling in the world.